My name is Cameron Ferreira. Welcome to the recipe presented by Flavor and Flames. Today we're going to be making a traditional Portuguese dish, chicken Mozambique, over mashed potatoes. Let's get to cooking.
Put a wet towel underneath your cutting board so it doesn't slip. First you're going to take the shallot and the garlic. You're going to cut the top and the stem from the shallot, then make a little slice on the skin to peel it off. Once you have that, you could cut the shallot in half, where you can make small slices, preferably 3, and mince your shallot. Once you have the shallot prepared, next you're going to cut open the top of the garlic clove and picking out 3 cloves of garlic from the garlic cluster. The next step, when you have the 3 garlic cloves, you're going to smash the garlic with the brunt of the blade, then finally chop with your knife.
The next step in our process is going to be dicing up the chicken into 1-inch cubes, preferably. If you have bigger cubes, it's really not going to cook the way it's supposed to, so I prefer 1-inch cubes. But we're going to open this up and I'll show you how to cube it. Alright, for the next step, we're going to put water into the pot and start peeling and dicing our potatoes for our smashed potatoes. You always got to salt the water. Take a little pinch.
Very important step, never forget to wash your potatoes.
For our first step, we're going to cut the ends of the potatoes, like so. Start peeling away.
Slice in half from the top, and then slice in half again from the side. And then begin to cube.
We can throw in our potatoes. There we go. It was quite messy. Next thing that we're going to do is saute our vegetables. First we're going to start off with the shallots, and then next we're going to start with the garlic, because garlic is very burnable, and if you burn garlic, it turns bitter instead of that nice sweet garlic taste. We can switch around the olive oil, and we can start throwing in our shallots to be sauteed. Throw in the garlic. Keep throwing in the chicken. Get a nice sear on that bad boy. For the next step, we're going to be adding our Sazon Goya seasoning. Preferably, you could use 2.5 packets. If it's less orange, then you can add just the full 3 packets, but predominantly, the recipe calls for an orange color. For our next step, we're going to be adding 1.5 sticks of butter to the pan. For our next step, we're going to be cracking open the beer. It's supposed to be 8 ounces of the beer, so we're going to be pouring out until this line. And last but finally not least, the Flavor and Flames pineapple punch that's going to be added to our pan to give it that extra kick to our recipe tonight. So I'm just going to add 2 tablespoons of Flavor and Flames pineapple punch in there. I don't really care if I got a little bit extra more sauce in there. We can throw a little bit in there. And we're going to let that pan simmer for about 15 minutes. Add a bushel of curled parsley. So what you're going to do is you're just going to pull the top apart and then just pick it out separately. And then once you're done with that, you can just throw it into the bowl. For our next step, I'm going to be taking the pot of boiling potatoes and straining it so we can get started on making some mashed potatoes. For the next step, we're going to be throwing a quarter of butter into the pot and letting it melt. Incorporating the hot potatoes into the pot. And also adding a little splash of milk on top of that. And we can get to smashing our potatoes.
For plating the chicken Mozambique, I like to make a little mashed potato pocket for fun.
Now we're gonna place the chicken on top of the mashed potatoes and then finally garnish it with our curly parsley. Some good chicken Mozambique up in this. Right, last but not least, actually trying it out. Fede, you have to try this. This is absolutely bananas. You gotta try this, bro. Here.